Thank you, Madam Chair. Minister, I understand you have a banking background, suits you well for Ministry of Finance. I'd like to take you to page 91 on your results-based planning book. And I might just state for the record, my questions will be brief. I expect the response to be brief, and I will not allow the responses to be dragged out. Minister, on page 91, you have an actual figure under transportation and communications for 2012-13 of $77,000. The interim actuals for 2013-14 of $131,000, and you have an estimate of this year of $523,000, which is the same figure that you had for 2013-2014. You talked about leakage. I'd like you to explain to me how you can estimate $523,000 2 years in a row when your actual expenditures were a quarter of it. Why would you have such inflated estimate numbers for transportation and communication?
I'd like to introduce Murray Lindo, who's from the Office of the Provincial Controller. He, in fact, is the Provincial Controller.
Thank you. In response to your question, the Provincial Controller's Office actually holds funds on behalf of numerous corporate programs that a number of ministries operate. So in those cases, we support the integrated financial information system that's operated by the Ministry of Government Services. We provide funding and support to other programs as well in other ministries. They do chargebacks to our allocations for those delivery of services. In this particular case, there's been a number of upgrades that have been going on with the financial system. We were expecting certain charges to come through, and not all the charges happen in a timely way just by the project delivery.
Yeah, so for 2 years in a row, and actually for 3 years now, yeah, we've seen substantially smaller actual expenditures than what you're estimating of, a significant amount.
Yes.
And this is under the Office of the Provincial Controller.
Yes.
And so where does that money go, that extra $400,000 a year that you're budgeting that isn't spent?
These monies are turned back.
They're turned back?
Yes. They're not spent anywhere else. What we do is ask those program areas to provide us reports in terms of progress, and then any underspending is returned back to the CRF essentially.
Do you not believe that the estimates should be fairly close to the actual expenditures each and every year?
That is an appropriate budgeting process, yes.
Yeah.
And we do ask our partners to provide us reasonable plans and projections, and we go through those each year working with them. There are circumstances that come along, whether they're project delays in moving on some of these key initiatives.
Seems to be going on for a little while.
Well, I've got a number of partners that are involved, and they're coming at it from different perspectives.
Have you asked these partners to be a little bit more prudent and in their budgeting as well?
Yes, we have established what we call formal memorandums of understanding and agreements on when these projects are put in place and exactly what the amount should be provided. So yes, we are tightening up on that.
Okay, well, I'll go to the next one then, Minister. On page 87, you'll see under the Office of the Budget and Treasury Board, actual expenditures in 2012-2013 were $15 million. Actuals in 2013-14 were $16 million. And the estimates for 2013-2014 was twice that amount, $33 million. And once again, you're estimating $33 million for this year for the Office of the Provincial Controller. What is going on with the Office of the Provincial Controller, once again, or is this other third-party partners, once again, but twice the estimates? You're estimating twice what the actual expenditures are.
So I'm back in the hot seat.
Yeah.
So dealing with all of the components, there are transportation communication charges. That's mainly IT charges that would occur through data lines, et cetera. The services side deals a lot more with the building of systems and the maintenance of those systems. So I will come back to what are core systems that we ensure are being operated for all of the ministries across the government. An integrated financial system. We have what I would say is ownership, strategic ownership responsibility to make sure that system is provided and available to all ministries and that we can produce things like public accounts and the external reports. Those systems went through some significant upgrades, and it was basically over the past 3 years, we've been undertaking a major upgrade to that system to get it brought up to the proper version of Oracle and the IT supports. It took a couple of rounds to get to the right implementation plan for that. And so some underspending has occurred in order to get the project in place. The system has actually now been upgraded, so we're going to be seeing some adjustments to that.
So, but you're one of our watchdogs. You're one of our financial watchdogs. And for the last 3 years now, you have been overestimating by 50% on your budget. And you're one of the people who are there to safeguard the public's interest on our financial expenditures. And it certainly doesn't appear to me, I can maybe see 1 year, but for multiple years, that raises alarms to me, and I would hope that it would raise alarms to the minister as well. These significant variations between actuals and estimates. But Minister, maybe I'll go on to the next one on page 83. And this is one that's slightly in reverse. And I know you've talked a good line about how supportive you are of our municipal partners. And if you look at page 83 of your results-based planning book, 2012 actual expenditures under the OMPF, $592 million. In 2013-2014, $568 million. And your estimate for this year is $541 million. A continual decrease in funding for our municipal partners as we hear the good song about you're supporting our municipal partners. And you might also take a look at the GTA pooling compensation, which has dropped from 143 million, that's on the same page, Minister. It's dropped from 143 million to 87 million. So, we have, in your mandate and every other minister's mandate, we have seen that we have an open, accountable, and forthright mandate. When we hear you say that you're supporting our municipal partners, but at the same time reducing their funding, how do you reconcile the words and the actuals?
You have about 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer that.
I have Alan Dohoney here. He can now elaborate on some of the specifics, but let me just say this. Funding is something that we've negotiated with the municipalities. They're all well aware that the reduction is taking place. They're being offset by uploads and other activities to have a net benefit to the municipalities. But the funding has been very clear for the last 2-3 years as a trajectory and what it is that they'll ultimately get. What they need is predictability and understanding. And we've said that all along, and it's highlighted in our letters, it's highlighted in our regards. And Alan, if you want to just add a few more things.
Sure. So, as the minister indicated, this is just one component of the support that's provided to municipalities, and the reduction to OMPF was something that was agreed to with municipalities back in 2008 as a phase down to 500 million by 2016. And if you look at the other supports that the government has provided, so that's primarily through the uploads, so that the reduction in OMPF was part of the agreement to upload billions of dollars in social program costs off the property tax base. The total support is actually $2.2 billion. That includes over 500 million through the OMPF and 1.7 billion through provincial uploads.
Thank you, Mr. Doheny. Okay. Maybe you can
I can wrap it up.